From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another live podcast with Conversation with Trent and Friends, featuring the lovely Coach Dee. We got a nice one on this messy Sunday, as Coach Dee like to call it, on this messy Sunday. The Disney Princess Syndrome. The Disney Princess Syndrome. I got this random thought about this Disney Princess thing. I was browsing the internet a couple of weeks ago and ran across this article. I don't know if you guys remember the rapper Eve / actress. Well, she married a guy over the pond, and he was quoted saying she never have to work a day in her life again. The guy's a billionaire, but what really piqued my interest was the comment section, where all these women were talking about this is how their man had to come and blah blah blah, this, that, and the third. So I'm thinking to myself, man, this is their reality. This is not your reality. So that's why I said Disney Princess, the Princess Syndrome. Let's get Coach Dee in. Let's talk about it. Hey.
Hey there, how are you? Happy Thanksgiving, delayed Thanksgiving to those of us in the United States, or Friendsgiving.
You know, you don't do that. You know, I don't do that either, but happy Turkey Day. I know you didn't do anything like that, did you?
No, Xavier, what do we have? We had tacos. We don't celebrate the story.
Exactly.
And I'm Canadian, so our Thanksgiving's in October, and it's a completely different thing. Just a celebration about a harvest and a guy going off making some maps.
Right. That's cool. Everything's good on this, and everything's good. No, everything's good. So, what are your thoughts on the topic, the Disney Princess Syndrome?
You know what? Y'all men are exhausting.
There you go. Before we get into it, ladies and gentlemen, we are probably going to get into it by the end of the show. I guarantee.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because I'm a progressive and you're not.
Let's say hi to the folks real quick.
Hey, Miss Kathy and Wendy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Kathy, what's going on? What's going on, Wendy? So the Disney Princess Syndrome, right? Think about this, man. So this guy, as I said, Eve married this guy from over the pond. He's a billionaire. So he was quoted in an article saying that she never have to work another day in her life, which is cool. That's their reality. But what piqued my interest was the women in the comment section. This is how my man have to come. I won't accept anything other than that. Why do women feel so like this is what needs to be done? That's not their reality. That is not their reality. That's a tad bit, case of narcissism, if you ask me.
Narcissism is so overused.
Self-centered, attention-seeking.
Are you done?
What say you?
All right. So men made the rules. So you want to be the leaders. You want to be the providers. You want to be the provider? That means you provide, not 50-50. So here's the thing. Most of the rules in North America are religion-based. They're based on religions. They're based on the patriarchy to keep men in power solely because they're men, not because they can lead. Because we've seen men who can't lead themselves out of a wet pepper bag, right? So here's the thing. You make the rules, and Disney actually started changing their whole storylines because people started getting upset with the whole damsel in distress and needed a man come and save her.
I get it. And so why women have bought into that? Why do, I mean, come on, you see that a
You
ton
bought into it. You've been
online.
women in North America have been trained to do that. Women in the United States will vote against their own basic rights because that's what their father tells them or their husband tells them to do.
Right.
It's about control. This is it's not a Disney princess syndrome. It's what women have been taught for generations. And now that women
Right.
aren't doing it, men are upset.
I'm not upset by it. I mean, I
Let me
know
tell you,
some guys are
yeah,
upset
I
by this,
mean,
but I want to get down to the trauma of it all. This thing is characterized as attention seeking,
it's not
demanding
attention. No,
attitude.
no, it's
Yes,
not
it is.
entitlement. No,
D, come on, come
it's
on, come on.
listen. You want to talk about entitlement, let's talk about men who want to be fed before children on Thanksgiving Day. Like, make men are upset because women didn't make them a plate. I'm like, you
I
got
get,
2 feet, two and a heartbeat.
I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. But why? I just want to know why. I mean, did it happen while they were growing up as kids? Did their
Yes,
parents speak this into them? Or they got
yes.
this, princess syndrome and,
It's not a princess
you
syndrome.
deserve the best and whatever. But
This
if
is why
that's not your reality, you should not be asking for it.
why not ask for one?
Reciprocate what you're willing to give.
Give what do you mean reciprocate what you're willing to give?
As far as anything that you're asking for. I'm not just talking about monetary stuff and whatnot, but in this case, we're talking about demanding things, demanding you should be taken here, opposed to taking you to the place he chose. Demanding he take care of everything. And what are you going to be doing?
Well, actually, in some religions, the women are not supposed to be doing anything. The man is supposed to provide all. Um,
Do
in
tell, dig a little deeper. I see where you're going.
if we look in the Bible, and I hate talking about the Bible on Sundays because there's so many buffet Christians out there who pick and choose, right? So here's the thing: if
Right.
you look at the Bible says the man is supposed to provide, the woman is supposed to be subservient, all this stuff. So people are
Right.
taught in school, and it's all about subservience. The Pledge of Allegiance taught from kindergarten.
Right.
It's all about being subservient. It's not about leading, it's about indoctrination. So you're indoctrinated from the time you're a small child about how you're
Right.
supposed to behave, gender roles, what's supposed to happen, and who makes the rules. The problem now is that people who used to make the rules are finding out that people don't want to listen to their rules anymore. So they ask
Right.
questions.
I get all of that. And
Yeah.
here's the dangerous piece to this, right? Here's the dangerous piece to demanding all these things. You might end up with a Sean Combs. You might end up with a Russell Simmons. You might end up with those type of guys. So you got to be
Oh, yeah.
careful when you demand these things. Oh, I don't have to work. There's a price with that. It comes with the price.
Well, if they were listening to their grandmothers would have told them that they should have their own bank account and they should always have the ability to make their own money. Grandma's been telling us that for generations, right? And the
Right.
thing is now, 2023 is, I call it the Great Awakening. But it's not the Great Awakening that people thought it was going to be.
Right.
It's a Great Awakening because Gen Z is a completely different generation. They've been raised by people who are very aware of what's going on, right? 86% of people do not fact check things they're told,
Right.
right? So Gen Z fact checks
It's
things.
dangerous.
Yeah, Gen Z fact check things. So when people talk about things, they will bring receipts. So now when people demand, like, I wouldn't want to go to a restaurant I don't like. I'm going to tell you that I don't like that restaurant. I'm not going there.
Absolutely.
Right? Everybody should have standards and boundaries, and they should be respected. The problem is there
Absolutely.
are people who will complain when somebody sets their boundaries and expectations. Right?
So let's dig into the whole Disney princess, this non-reality, which has
It's not.
come,
It is a
which has
reality.
come some. I'm sorry, say that again.
It is a reality because people. It's not. It's not about people being entitled. It's about people demanding what they think they're worth, and nobody is
D,
able to tell other people what their
D,
worth is.
D, D,
What?
D. For some people, that is not their reality. What they're asking for, that's not them. That's
That
not
says
them.
you.
It's some of these
Who are
women,
you to decide what people's realities are?
yeah, but some of these women watch these smut TV, I call it. What do you call those things? The reality TV
Reality shows,
shows.
yeah.
They watch these shows and they inject themselves into that and they pull that into their relationships. Then they start asking for these hard to reach items and come on, man, your arm's not that long. Knock it off. That's not their reality.
That's a very limiting belief.
There you go.
Why be so limiting? Why not allow people to have realities that stretch what their abilities are? There's no
But if
growth
you
if you're not
asking for it,
uncomfortable.
if you're demanding that, come on,
Mhm.
D, come on. If you're demanding that, if you're
What is the
demanding that, and that's not your reality at the moment, come on, man.
see? The thing is, your reality
It's
at the
not. That's
moment
not fair to
is
the guy. Is that fair?
well, men think they're princesses, so let's go there, right?
And you know that is the other side of that. The metaphor to that is normally a stigma for men. Men normally act that way.
Yeah,
They're very demanding.
yeah.
I'll agree to that. But women have
So
taken this thing and gone way out of bounds with it. Come on, man.
women are doing the exact same thing men have been doing for generations, and the only problem is men don't like it. That's the only problem.
Let's talk
This is
about
nothing new. Nothing
let's
new at
talk
all.
about the trauma in this, man. Let's talk about the trauma in this. You're asking for things that you're not willing to reciprocate. We're not talking about monetary stuff.
Mhm.
We're talking about these out of reach things that they're not living like that. Come on. Just
Because
like
everything doesn't need to be reciprocated. That's a very transactional
I
relationship.
agree. I'm agreeing with that. I'm agreeing with that. But
Mhm.
some of these demanding things, some of these self-centered things, man, it's out of bounds. You
Really,
can't tell me that you don't see that.
I see people who may have boundaries and requirements that are different than mine. I'm not going to stop somebody from saying that I
We're
want
not
to
gonna
go. I
we're
refuse to
not
go to
gonna
this
sit here and
restaurant.
just call that a boundary and roll with that. That's
Why
just
not?
not that's come on.
Everybody has
Those out of reach
requirements.
things for themselves. But if you're not accustomed to certain things or living a certain way, why are you asking for that?
So nobody should be
Why no,
reaching
I shouldn't
higher
say asking. Why are you demanding that?
because people can reach higher. If nobody ever demanded more
When
than what they
somebody else is
currently
done?
have, why? Why would you not? Why would you not think that somebody could demand more than what they currently have?
I'm just saying. There's a way to ask for those things. There's a way to set your standard, in my opinion. There's a way to
Why?
do that.
Why you in other people's pocketbooks? Why you care? Right? Why
Stop
you
it.
counting other people's money?
Stop it.
Let people demand. You don't get anywhere if you don't reach. Right? We tell
I
people
get that.
to reach for the stars, to hope and all stuff. Now you're saying, oh no, well, you're that's not the level you're at, dude. What? Come on.
Yeah, dating your own ballpark, man. Come on. Date in
Dating
your
your
own ballpark.
then a lot of men would be very single because women don't like them very much anymore.
Stop. Stop.
I'm being very honest. Magazines have written about it multiple times. Psychology Today has written about it.
So
Right?
let's talk about the characterizer of this thing, man. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about it. And as I
Where's
call him out, you respond to him.
where is he from?
Huh?
Eve's husband. Where is Eve's husband from?
He's over the pond, England.
So he's
He's up,
British.
yeah, he's over the
Okay,
pond.
so well, culturally, Britain. You see how their class system works.
Exactly.
He will
But it's
be
cool.
British.
But again, that's their reality. That's their reality. So I'm not gonna look at their relationship and say, man, I want those same things. Nah, that's their
All right.
reality. This is where it becomes clogged. You know what I'm saying? When you're looking at someone else saying, oh, this is what I want. This is how my woman or my man need to come. Come on, man. It's not their
But
reality.
don't we tell people to find role models?
I get that. I get
Yeah.
that. And strive for better, strive for greatness, all that stuff. But when
Yeah.
you start becoming demanding, when you demand those things, when you become nasty with those things, when you become self-centered and make it
If
about you and not the relationship, that's not good.
well, if they can't provide, then don't say you're a provider and move on.
Thank
Look
you.
for somebody who doesn't make demands. Easy enough.
I got you. I got you.
Right? That's
So let's
why.
talk about the characteristics of princess syndrome, right? Arrogant, self-centered, attention-seeking, demanding attitude.
Where did you find this? What magazines are you reading?
I just Googled some stuff.
Yeah, you need to Google better because that's not what Disney Princess Syndrome is about. It's
Come
actually
on.
literally has a specific definition.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Go ahead. Tell me. Go ahead.
Watch this. I'll Google Disney Princess Syndrome, and it's
No,
not
no, no,
about.
no. There's a difference. I put the word Disney in there for non-reality. The non-reality
You
folks.
can't be doing
This one
that
come
though.
from the princess syndrome.
You can't be doing that though because the specific titles have meaning. Words have meaning. But here's the thing: calling women who make the same demands as men do arrogant and like entitled and everything is ridiculous. That's the same
Why
thing as
is
calling
that?
that's
Why is
calling
that
women
big?
bosses a bitch. It's a double standard. It's a huge double standard. We
So
don't
if
allow
a
women
woman
to
is
do the exact
self-centered,
same
you
things
telling
men
me
do.
that is wrong for me to say you're self-centered?
Because they're making demands of what they want, that's not self-centered. That's self-assured. There's a difference.
We're gonna respectfully disagree. We're gonna
No,
agree to disagree.
no, we're not going. You're
If she's
wrong.
self-centered, she's self-centered.
Yeah, but making
If she's
demands doesn't make
demanding,
not.
she's demanding. We can
You can
let's not color the word up, make it pretty.
making
It
demands
is
does
what
not
it
make you
is. Didn't you
self-centered.
just say words matter?
Yes, but making demands does not make one self-centered. That's not how it works. Just because somebody makes a demand doesn't make them self-centered, entitled, and arrogant. That's completely
There's
out of the
nothing
wall.
wrong with making a demand, but come on, you have to do it in a tactful way. Being nasty about it, and
Well,
you're not going
sir,
to get results like that.
here's the thing. Go talk to all those alpha men who want to be providers and leaders and don't want to provide or lead and can't provide or lead. It's like all those passport bros want to be providers, go to traditional companies where the men is required to provide and can't, and then don't understand why they need to do that. Like, y'all made the rules. You can't make the rules and then just
Let's
not
take
like how
that
the
off the
game's
table and
playing.
let's talk about some accountability, though. Come on, man. You can't tell me that that's the way to go with that. It's not.
Men have been
It's,
doing it for generations. It's just
just
the
because
shoes
they
on the other
have, I
foot.
mean, come on.
The shoes on the other foot, sir. That's all there is to that.
I'm
So
just
what you're
saying.
saying is that men have been arrogant, self-centered, and entitled for a
I've been one of
millennia,
them, yes.
and
I've
now
been
that it's
one of
being
them.
done to you, you don't like it.
But here's the thing, though. No, here's the thing, though. I could actually admit to that. That's called accountability.
Hmm.
In my past life, I was one of them.
Hmm.
Very self-centered. But that's called accountability.
But
Take
self-centered,
responsibility for the toxic you bring to your own party.
yeah. So, but you're using demanding. Somebody who's demanding is self-centered. It's not the same thing. If they're demanding about things that only affect them, then that's self-centered. But making demands in general is not self-centeredness.
No, it's not. I agree. I'm agreeing with you on that.
Okay.
Again, when you're demanding of someone else, whatever, and you know what I'm saying, you're out of reach. You're clearly out of reach when you're demanding these things. You're clearly out of reach.
Sir, if I roll my eyes anymore, they're
Saying
going
it
to
in a
be stuck in
nice
the back
way.
of my head.
What'd you say?
I said, if I roll my eyes anymore, they're going to get stuck in the back of my head. Out of reach. Making demands out of reach. How many times have you said that women should help build up a man? So now that woman is demanding the things that are out of reach, then she's wrong?
I'm not
Make
saying
the
she's
mapping
wrong.
happen.
Here's the thing, right?
Hmm.
Here's the thing. You get more from a bee with honey. Think about it. If you ask me nicely, things will flow naturally. Be very organic.
Oh, so women should be
If you're nasty
subservient and
about it,
not be demanding. So what you're saying that you want to be in control and not have anybody make any demands off you while you
has
make
nothing.
demands.
Honey has nothing to do with demanding, D.
Well, you don't get more bees with honey. That it's bee spit. You would get more with pollen and sugar water. But that's if you knew how bees work, that would be different.
This woman.
Listen, man, y'all made the rules. Now you don't like that the rules, the game is favoring the other team.
So you're okay with that demanding? You're okay with you don't. I want to know, where does that come from? Like,
Yes,
let's
hell
talk
yes,
about
make
how.
demand.
I mean, were
Make
they raised like that?
demands.
I mean, what?
Yes,
What you say?
make demands and I expect people to reach for what they don't have. Because that is how generational wealth is gained,
I
by
agree with
reaching.
that, but I agree with that. But if you're actually reaching for something, if you're reaching, reach nicely.
Reach
You know what I'm
nicely.
saying? Become appealing, and maybe someone will actually give it up.
Or maybe
But
she'll
if you're
give up
nasty
asking you to
about
get
it,
it herself.
if you're nasty and toxic about it, you're gonna turn the guy off.
You know what? Here's the thing. If somebody cannot deal with somebody making demands at the same time that they're able to make demands, they deserve to be on their own. And she deserves better. I will tell every woman who ever asks me to make sure that she makes demands, because it's a red flag if he refuses. It's a red flag if he calls her entitled. It's a red flag if he calls her
Again,
arrogant or self
I don't
centered.
see anything wrong with the demands, but if you're asking nicely,
You don't have to ask
if you take
nicely.
the bitterness out of your mouth, you might get
What's
something
bitter?
sweet.
What is bitter? Define bitter.
Demanding and just nasty and just self-centered, like everything is about you.
So somebody should walk around eggshells and talk the way that you expect them to talk in order to get
No, I
anything?
didn't say that. I
That's
didn't say that
toxic.
at all.
That's
Now you're
very
putting
toxic.
words in my mouth.
No, because you said to say nice, ask nicely. That's toxic.
Yeah, no one wants to be talked to nasty. No one wants toxic people around them. I mean, come on.
So you're making demands of somebody's behavior, but refuse to acknowledge that they can make demands of things that they want.
Again, I'm saying demanding is okay. It's okay, but it's the way that you demand, the way that you ask. You can't be demanding like that. As your buddy.
Slash, good lord. Where is it? Grand Rising Melanated people, greetings, Princess Coach D and Epic. Did y'all fly in Disney princesses for Disney World and Disneyland? I don't know what that means. And Kathy says, have we defined what a Disney princess is? It sounds as if men and women are not on the same page. When I think of Disney princess, I view it as a woman who walks in her femininity and she submits to her partner.
Wait, what? Read
No,
that one more time.
that is not what a Disney princess is. She says that it sounds as if men and women are not in the same page. When I think of Disney princess, I view it as a woman who walks in her femininity and she submits to her partner. That's
I
not
know
what.
that's a different princess, Kathy. That's a different, and I agree with you that they're not on the same page. They're definitely not. They're definitely not on the same page. Again, let me ask you a question, Kathy. Let me ask you a question. When you actually setting these standards for your guy of choice, um, and when you're reaching, and I say that in a very generally way, when you're reaching, when you're demanding this, are you demanding with the correct tone or a nasty tone? Like you see on social media when they demand them to not take them to Cheesecake Factory. They got to go to Ruth Chris. They're demanding this, but they're out of reach. So how do you do that?
How's Ruth Chris out of reach?
If you're not accustomed to it, that's out of reach for them. If they're not accustomed to Ruth Chris, don't ask for it.
Who are you to say what somebody's accustomed to?
If they now D, come now you being come
No,
on D.
nope. See, here's the thing. You like to pick at me to get me riled up, but you don't like when it's done to you. So, blame, don't be the hypocrite, sir. It's not
So
cute.
so here's the thing though. If you're not accustomed to going to Ruth Chris, why would you ask for that? If he suggests, hey, let's go to Outback, and she suggests Ruth Chris,
Because Outback sucks.
if
Maybe
it's a
they don't
known
like
out of
it.
her reach,
Maybe they don't like
that's
that
a bit
restaurant.
much to me. What you say?
Ruth Chris is not. It's not as fancy as everybody likes to think of it.
The steak is okay. I prefer Morton's myself.
But even those, you can still come out of there at dinner for $200. That's
I
not. It's
agree.
still not
And you know
up
why you
there.
know that? You know why you know that? Because you've been to places and you know how to order off the menu.
Mm. But here's the
That's how
thing,
you
though.
know. That's how you know it. That's when I say you're out of reach. That's when I say
Well,
folks are out of reach.
mm. But here's the thing. Everybody likes to think they can level up, and everybody should think they can level up. And you can't
I
level
get
up
that.
unless you have a taste of that level
Again, I
to
get
make you
that. But like
hungry.
I said, you get more honey when you take the
That
bitterness out of your
stop
mouth.
using that. That doesn't work. That's like people who say you get more fruit flies with honey. You don't. You get them with vinegar. That's how you catch them.
I forgot you know about these bees.
Vinegar
I
is
think Kathy
clean.
responded.
Vinegar works. Oh, all right. So Kathy says, "Okay, what is it? I'm not going to demand. I'm simply ask questions and say what I like and don't like." No. The
Bingo.
problem, yeah, the problem isn't demands. The problem is unspoken expectations.
What does that look like?
So somebody asks, like, I had a gentleman ask me out, right? I'm like, okay, I'll tell him what I like, what I don't like. Did he plan? Does he plan anything? No. So the day of, where would you like to go, sir? If you haven't made reservations, you're not going to any restaurant I want to go to,
Right, right. I get it.
right? So there. The problem is not people making demands or people outreaching. Is the problem is people having expectations and lower than what the other person they're dating is. So if somebody has an expectation of this is what I like to go, because you don't know what that person has experienced by looking at them or by where they live.
I'm agreeing with that. I'm
So
agreeing
you
with
know,
that. And I'm not opposing. I'm not opposing if even if they're out of reach. I'm not opposing. I'm not opposing at all. But it's the way that you ask for things. It's the way that you present things. Let me take the word ask out because that doesn't sound good in the context. It's the way that you proposing things or, you know what I'm saying? Your delivery is a little harsh. That's not going to
you,
make me go in my ass pocket and say, hey, let's go to Morton's. Let's go to wherever. That's
you
not
know,
going to make me go in my ass pocket.
well, you know what? Date people who don't talk like that. Then
I
I'm all for
don't.
people.
I'm
I'm
talking
all
about
for.
people. Hold on a second. Let me clarify this. See, Dee's really being funny right now because she knows exactly how I am. This is 20 years of friendship here. She knows exactly how I am. She knows that I will not date a woman like that. She
Yeah, but
definitely knows
we're
that.
not talking about you.
But I'm talking about why are you picking with me? I think you're
Sure.
getting me back for when
I
we
no, I'm not getting anybody back. I'm just being very honest. People need to be their authentic true selves. If
I
that's how they
agree.
talk, then date people that are like that. If you don't like how that some person talks, then don't
And
date them.
all I'm saying is stop reaching until you can actually reach better. Stop
No,
reaching and demanding until you can actually reach and demand better.
hmm,
Take the bitterness out of your mouth and
no.
start communicating.
Communication is what they need to do. They should. What should be done is people should be um, communicating their expectations. When
Exactly.
you communicate your expectations, then you know right up front if that person is for you or not. Because
It's
not every
Kathy.
person is your person.
Kathy's in here
Kathy
tonight. I
says
appreciate you, Miss
Ruth
North
Chris is too
Carolina.
high for small plates.
Wait, what she said?
Ruth Chris is too high for small plates. I do like their food as though. And Kathy says expectations should be stated up front before the date. Grown folk have time for the games. Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
But expectations, communicating. If you're telling people what you like and that person says, "Nah," keep it moving.
Exactly. You know, if you actually open up and say that, you give that person the right away to say, hey, this is not for me, which is
And if
cool.
they,
Just like you said, keep it
and
moving.
yeah, and here's the thing, and women will, and every woman will agree with me. Men do not like being told no.
Some men.
Some men will get very violent when you tell them no.
I'm, I'm
It's
gonna, I'm gonna, I'm
dangerous.
gonna, I'm gonna, I'm gonna agree with you.
Yeah,
Some men.
it's very dangerous for us to say no. So we have to be very careful about
I
how we
agree,
do things. Because
especially with
sometimes
these new guys. I don't know where the hell they got these new guys from.
y'all
I'm
raised them.
agreeing with you on
I
that.
don't know I don't know who you're talking about. Your generation that raised them, sir. Because I'm raising a son that no woman will have to
I'm
recover from.
playing nice here
So
tonight. I'm playing nice.
yeah,
I'm
I ain't
playing
playing
real
nice.
nice.
There's too much. There's too much nonsense going on in the world to be playing nice anymore. Too many people are sitting on fences when they shouldn't be sitting on fences.
That's the
So
problem.
I'm gonna keep it real. So
But here's the
you don't
thing.
like
Let's
you
keep it a
don't like
buck,
me.
right?
Whatever. Who cares?
Let's keep it a buck.
Mm-mm.
So when these women are reaching,
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, They're reality watchers, reality TV watchers. They're
Yeah.
reaching. They've seen things that they're trying to inject into their life.
hmm
And when I say reach, I'm saying it in a nice way. I'm not saying it in a bad way, but don't reach for that.
Why not?
You know what I'm saying? Just ask for something reasonable, or don't be so demanding.
I think
That's
Ruth
all I'm
Chris is more.
saying.
I think Ruth Chris is reasonable, especially at
To
my age.
you, of course, to you.
Listen, I am 52 years old. If you're a 52-year-old man, you can't pay for dinner at Ruth Chris, then we need to keep it moving.
So wait a minute. Let's take yourself out of this because you don't count.
Yeah, whatever.
So,
Okay.
so you're telling me if she's not accustomed to Ruth Chris, she's asking for Ruth Chris. I'm not
Mhm.
saying no, but if she's asking for it, but it's the way that she's asking for it. Her presentation is off. And the guy say, no, we're not going to do that. Let's go to Outback. Is that guy wrong?
I don't people should never put an expectation of how they want another person to communicate. You should accept how that person communicates. If you don't like how that person communicates, then you look for somebody who communicates in the way that you do like. Right?
Exactly.
Putting expectations on somebody else's communication is manipulative. To say you will get this if you ask me this way. No.
Here's the thing, though.
Red flag
I'm
on the
a
flag.
true believer in don't ask me for things you can't reciprocate. So if you're asking me for Ruth Chris or Morton Steakhouse, and when you ask me, hey, my treat, if the woman comes to me, oh, it's my treat, Trent, take me to Morton's.
You'd be surprised how many women can afford that on their own. That's the problem, though.
I know a ton of them, so
That's the
I
problem.
get it. I get it, but all I'm saying is reciprocate what you're asking. And I'm not saying you don't have to take the guy out, but if your treat that week and he's asking for Morton Steakhouse, what are you gonna do? If you're on a dollar budget at the dollar store.
But people would already communicated that. Here's the problem: is you're not
Not
putting
today. People are not
previous
communicating.
communication in play.
People are not communicating today.
Well, you know what? If you need to hang
Some
out with better people, I find that people are trying to communicate, but not everybody is listening because some people are stuck in this. I don't listen to what women have to say because I'm the man. Grunt,
So we're
grunt,
saying
scratch, and all that stuff.
so are we saying that this is all a man problem? That's what you're saying.
It's a patriarchy problem. This is why I call it what's going on in the
Bingo.
world now the Great Awakening, because society is changing. It's swinging in a different direction, and the people who benefited the most from the direction it was in don't like what's happening because now they're losing control and they're losing power. So when people lose power, they fight back.
Right.
You
I'm
can look
laughing
through
at
any
Kathy's
history book.
comment. I'm laughing at Kathy's comment. What she
Well,
said?
you get Morton's at home, grill that steak yourself.
See, that's communication. So she's saying no. So do it at the house. That's cool. But she's
Yeah.
communicating that. She's saying that she can't afford it. But don't
Mm.
ask me for things that you can't afford. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Am I wrong for saying that?
Well, here's the thing. The problem is men have, in general, in recent studies, they're trying to tell women that anyone who has more money than them or more power than them is not a real woman because they've lost their femininity because they make money because they're in power and they lead, right? So here's the problem. When you have women who now have flipped the dollar bill, so to speak, so that everybody has an equal share of it in some ways, not all of it, because statistically women still get paid less than men. But if that woman has the ability to do that herself, men get upset when she
Some
says,
men.
oh, listen, go on social media, and there'll be men complaining all the time that she
9
takes.
times out of 10, the guys that are getting upset, those are the guys who are dating out of the league. Those are the guys who are trying to get into the arena.
Hmm.
Guy who's actually been somewhere and a guy who has a passport, You won't be bothered with that. Let's get the slash comment. One sec.
Slash just says entitlement anyone first dates receive first date pull-ups. The tone plays no part to the real one. Real ones know how to express themselves. And note Ruth Chris is not on the menu. Y'all wouldn't date any of you.
Why? What's wrong with that comment, D?
Because why is Ruth Chris not on the menu?
If it's for the first date, if it's the first date, and like for me, right, I wouldn't take a woman to Ruth Chris or Morton's on the first date. Let's get some coffee. Let's have some. Matter of fact, I had chai tea maybe a month ago.
Chai, just chai. Chai is literally the word tea. So you had tea. Like that's it. Sorry, that's my pet peeve. People who say chai tea.
Stop.
So here's the thing. A date could be anything. Why are you putting limits on dates?
Exactly. Here's the thing. My tea was at the house. No Starbucks, no nothing. It was at the house. So, maybe a second date, maybe we'll do a little something.
I would hope
we'll get to know each other. We'll continue to get to know each other. But Ruth Chris is not on the menu. I agree with Slash on the first date.
Oh well.
So why does there have to be an expensive restaurant the first date?
It doesn't.
When you and I went out on our first date, it wasn't an expensive restaurant.
It doesn't have to be an expensive restaurant.
You know why? You know why we didn't? You know why we didn't do the expensive restaurant? Because we communicated.
Is that why you think that?
Stop. Don't get too personal.
Okay. So here's the thing. There shouldn't be a limit on first date. First dates are different for everybody. You know what I mean? I know people who Ruth Chris would be considered a normal first date for them. I've been taking Ruth Chris on first dates many times. There's other people. A coffee date is a fine first date. But there shouldn't be a limit on what somebody can ask for on a first date. Because 9 times out of 10, that ask tells them exactly where you are without you saying where you are.
That is hilarious. I want to say something so bad, but I'm going to leave it alone.
Say it. Women, women play just
you double fisted tonight, so I'm going to leave it alone.
Nah, whatever.
You double fisted tonight, I'm going to leave it alone.
I'm good. I'm not double fisted anything. I'm just so tired of all the BS. I'm just back to being completely honest and truthful because I've had too many conversations with people who just,
And that's all I'm saying. Communication supersedes anything. Yeah. Anything. So when we're talking about first dates, you should have multiple conversations before the first date.
And then you should come to an agreement on it.
Have multiple conversations.
And if somebody demands Ruth Chris and you're not into that, then you tell them. And then you decide whether you want to go somewhere else or if you want to move on. Easy peasy, done. People getting upset because somebody demanded a certain restaurant is so juvenile.
And this is why I said adult gumbo talk tonight. Because we're always having adult. We're always adulting over here. Mm-hmm. We're always adulting on this platform. So it's not Coach Dee and I disagree, agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, we'll always adult.
We'll agree to disagree for the next 20 years. It's just the way it is. I'm right most of the time.
I'm gonna take you up. I'm gonna let you have that one.
Okay.
I'll let you have that one.
Here's the thing. Communication is so key, and people get so caught up into their stuff that they haven't worked through that what seems to be a simple ask turns into this magnificent huge step, and it's like, dude, why are you flexing so much over something simple when you could just said no? No is a complete sentence.
We're getting to the meat and potatoes. Flash comes back again.
Did anyone see the brother that invited his sister to his castle, slaved over a hot stove and cooked a full meal including steak, got put on camera and berated, then was accused of not taking her out? Wow. I didn't see that. Was that a first date or?
That would have been nice. And to be honest with you, that was nice. Yeah, that was very nice.
How early did he invite her over to his place, though?
Yeah.
Right? Because for some, that could be very limiting. And did they have the expectation that that's what the date was going to be?
Yeah.
right? So there's a lot of conversations that could have been had that could have solved that whole problem.
So let's get transparent for a second. I'll talk about our first date back in the
Mhm.
day. The reason why I knew what to cook and place on the menu, and the reason why you knew what to bake when you came over to the house, because our first date was at the house
Yeah,
with a very nice gourmet meal.
yeah, because we
Very
talked
nice
a
meal.
lot.
We
Because
talked a
conversation.
lot.
Yeah,
It was
but
it
so
was a
many.
ton of conversation before the
Yeah,
first date.
but here's the thing: most of the people, like I love a man who can cook because I hate cooking. Even though I went to cooking school, I hate cooking. So I will bake a storm up though. But here's the
Right,
thing:
right, right.
if he wanted to do that, sounds fabulous. I haven't seen that video, so I don't know how good of a cook he is because
Right,
you don't
right.
eat at everybody's house. But to go on camera and berate him, that something there just seems off. Like there seems to
Yes.
be a trauma response going on there to what had occurred. So they obviously didn't have any conversations. I'll
What
have
does
to
that
go look
look
at that
like?
video to see.
What does trauma response in that situation looks like? What does it look like?
Getting angry over an unmet need that hasn't been communicated.
Gotcha. Now, is that his fault or her fault?
That would be her fault for not communicating it,
Gotcha.
right? And also his fault for not asking, because obviously he hasn't communicated that if this was an okay situation to do,
Gotcha. Oh,
right?
he posted it in the group. I didn't see it.
Okay, I'll go take a
You
look
have
at
to
it
go back.
later.
Yeah, look at it.
But yeah, it's very different for different people, and everybody has their own expectations about what a date looks like. Right? Like some people will get very upset if a woman paid for the date
Right.
because they
And
think it's
honestly, I
emasculating.
think that the big problem here is both parties are cross talking. And when I say
Hmm.
cross talking, they're talking past one another.
They're not talking to each other.
Exactly. 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 While I'm on this topic of me cooking your dinner, just for the record, Al Sal, because my brothers always thought that I learned how to cook once I came back south. Can you tell them that I was
No,
cooking like that?
no, you're a good
No,
cook.
thank you.
I wouldn't have stuck around if you weren't because I wasn't cooking. I would order in, but yeah. But that's a trauma. That's my trauma response. Is I don't like cooking for other people.
But you do
That's a,
love
that's a,
bacon.
listen, man. Downstairs right now, I got some coconut ice, some lemonade pie.
Don't
I got
tell
some
me that,
stuff to
because
make Xavier some cookies.
I'm gonna ask for a shipment. Don't tell me that.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
please don't tell me that.
I already feel bad for anybody Xavier dates or marries because they have big shoes to fill.
Right,
Well, my
right,
mama
right.
could fix anything.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, you're a great baker. You really are a baker.
I apologize now to whoever that person is in the future. But yeah, you know
Good
what?
stuff.
It's so many things can be broken down to communication.
Right,
So many things, so many issues, so many things that could be resolved. But it has to be open, honest, authentic, true communication, not
right,
manipulative communication, not lies by omission, where you give part of the information, but it's actually not really the truth
right,
because the truth is not would
right,
make you accountable for behavior you don't want to be accountable for.
right.
Right.
I get it. I get it.
So
I get it. When we talk about it, like I said, when it started off as a random thought when I read that
mhm.
I guess the guy was being interviewed by a magazine, and he
Okay.
said that she never have to work again in her life, which is cool. Again, like I said in the opening, that's their reality. That's their reality. But here's what the problem for me, where we get in trouble. We look at these celebrities, we see their lifestyle, we place that pressure onto our mate, whether it be
Mhm.
male or female. We place that pressure, we put that weight on their chest.
Right.
That's not our reality. We could
Nope.
work toward that, but that's
Mhm.
not our reality.
Yeah. Very few people move from more than one class up. So if you're upper middle class, okay, you can move into a lower first class, or if you're middle class, you can move into upper middle class. But you're
Right.
not going to have that huge jump unless you have some generational wealth being built.
Exactly.
Unless or you have some amazing skill that you can
Ladies and
get
gentlemen,
out.
that's adult talk. That's adult talk. Exactly what she just said. That is reality.
Because
She knows that.
we all
Go
know
ahead. I'm
some
sorry.
amazing people who have like amazing gifts, but will never reach the levels of like Justin Bieber just because nobody knows them.
Exactly.
Okay? Like how many people know a soloist in church who could sing the pants off Whitney Houston, but will never be heard by anybody
Never,
other than
they'll
people in
never hear
church,
about him. You're right.
right?
They'll
So
never hear about him. Slash come back again.
there's Pinterest images and attitude that some parents, well intended, no doubt, instill in their daughters. They do this through labels like princess, goddess, diva, or even the word special. Listen, if
True.
you're not telling your daughter that she's a princess, a goddess, diva, or the word special, then you are
But
not increasing your self esteem. You are going to cause more problems than you are.
I'm gonna partially agree with you on that. I believe that it's a fine line when you're parenting and you're speaking life into your kid. It's like with Kennedy, for example. I placed myself in that position, right? Kennedy was born, she didn't have to worry about anything. She was good,
Mhm.
good, straight brat. But the way her mother parent and I parent was two totally different places, two totally different situations. Whereas, like, hey, listen, everything's not going to be handed to you. Everything's not going to be given to you. It's a fine line you have to thread when you're dealing with these kids. You can't just throw them out there in the world and just throw everything at them and they think that this is life. No, it's not life. It's not life.
But here's the problem: people think that tough love is loving their children.
But
You can raise your
I'm not
children.
speaking from tough love.
Wait, sir, I am a parenting coach. This is what I do. So people forget
I
that
agree.
you should be the safe spot where your children land. The problem is people are not teaching their kids. People like to talk about, well, this is how reality is. Like, no, that's not. That's the reality we've created.
Hey, come on
Reality
now.
could be
Come
so
on.
much different.
You do your kid a great disservice. Your kid a great disservice when you're just throwing things at them and not
No, who's
walking that
throwing
line, man. You have to. That's not reality.
all? Listen, all you're teach when you teach your kids that they need to do chores for to get things. All you're teaching them is a capitalism.
Call Kennedy right now. Kennedy don't even know what chores look like.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about you. I'm talking in general. Here's the thing:
Gotcha.
most people still beat their kids, thinking that it's love, and all they're teaching them that is violence is love. Spanking doesn't do anything. Studies have shown again and again and again that it's actually harmful. But people will say, "Well, I was spanked and I'm okay." I'm like, "Sir, you're advocating hitting a 1-year-old. You're not okay."
So when we're talking about what Slash just commented here, when you
Listen,
say that it's a fine line to do that,
you can raise your kids
you have to be
to
careful
have
before you
self
push these kids
esteem.
out in the world, man. That's where disappointment comes in.
Calling
Go
somebody a
ahead.
special or a princess is not going to build them up so that they will get disappointed. Kids get disappointed all the time. Parents disappoint their kids more than anything else because we're disappointing because we don't take accountability for our own behaviors and we adultize kids and expect them to act like adults when they're children who have specific developmental stages.
Right.
So people act 2-year-olds act like 20-year-olds and it's not going to happen. And then they give them tough love because they're not behaving like an adult. It's not about reality, it's about what parents think their reality should be, not what reality actually is. Life would be so much easier for everybody if we didn't pretend that you had to suffer to get ahead, that suffering is good, that
I get
suffering is
that.
needed to be stronger.
Suffering is definitely not good.
Yeah.
Definitely not good. But I'm commenting on Mark's comment. I believe, me personally, I believe it's a fine line when you're parenting and you actually speaking life into these kids and you talking to them and about everyday life. It has to be a fine line because they could take that and the reason why I'm saying that, my mother spoke life into me like that. I was a complete brat and became an adult brat for a ton of years until I acquired the tools to move forward in life. I always expected that was supposed to happen for me. I always
You
expected that. That
you
was
know what
mine in the beginning.
you want to know who doesn't do that?
Who doesn't?
White people.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're
And
absolutely
people are
right.
like, well, Dee, no, you're wrong. I'm like, no, I'm not wrong. My mother's white. I know exactly how me and my sisters were raised. And I tell
Right.
people, I said, I am raising Xavier with the audacity of a mediocre white man and the knowledge of a well aware black man. And they're like, why?
Like for
I said,
me,
because he will make expectations.
for me, I get a little transparent here. For me, God rest her soul, my mother, she loved the ground I walked on, and she proved
Mhm.
it every single day. Not only through, but she never told me no, and I
Mhm.
became a problem for a ton of women over the years until I acquired the tools and said, "Hey, listen, that's not right.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Xavier
That's
gets
not
told
it."
no all the Xavier gets told no all the time. Here's the thing.
Oh
You
yeah, I
have
know that.
you have to understand that so often we're putting limitations on children based on what society has already been told to us, and that we haven't
Right,
decolonized our mind to be aware of the expectations that we're pushing away. Like how many times have if people have been told if you had a ton of money, what would you do? That is never what they're doing because they were
right.
told you shouldn't be doing this.
That's
This is
true.
not a real job. This is not, and people push down what their passion is because of what people have told them. So you know what? Call your daughters princess. Call them goddess. Call them diva. I call Xavier sir. And do you know why I call him sir? Because if his mother calls him sir, there's an expectation. There will never be an expectation that no one else
I
can
agree with
call.
that. All that is healthy. That's
Hmm.
all that is healthy.
Yeah.
I believe, again, I do believe that there's a fine line. Just like with you, right? I know you tell Xavier no, but looking at you, the way you post, the way you spend time with him, the
Hmm.
places you take him, and all this stuff. You guys were out of the country for 17 days. Real nice. But most people looking at that say, "Oh man, she spoils him." I know you tell him no a ton of times,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's the fine line I'm talking about.
Hmm.
That's the fine line I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the fine line as parents we have to walk.
And you know what?
That's the fine line.
He probably is spoiled because you know what? It's very. I don't say no a lot. He just asked for like a pile of books for Christmas. It's gonna cost me a small fortune, but you know what? It's. I talked to his teachers, and
Right.
I asked him. I said, "Is he a good human?" Like, forget the straight A's. Forget that he's an honor roll student. Like she says, yeah, he's a pleasure to have in class. When he's done, he helps other kids. Right?
Exactly.
Because I
Like
tell
Mark
him,
came back with
you are
another
a
one.
good person. Uh, it's much healthier to allow your child to be more aware that no one is better or less than anyone else. The Princess Syndrome, Dr. Nancy Irwin. I haven't read that book. I'd have to take a look at the book to see where it is. Because here's the thing: when I read psychology books, I read them if they have a cultural bias or not.
Right.
Because there's not a lot of parenting books that are written by Black parents that take into account the Black experience. So there's things that we do that are not as healthy as they should be because we haven't completely reparented ourselves into what is a better parent. And that's not to say anybody's parents are bad or anything like that. Don't
Right.
say I'm calling your mama out because I'm just saying that not our parents parented to the best of their ability. And it's our job as parents in 2023 with a wealth of knowledge available to us to parent to the best of our ability. And sometimes we have to look at things that have done in the past and switch them up. And propping up your children and giving them self-esteem and confidence at a young age is so important because so
I
many
agree with
times
that. I
we talk
totally
to our
agree with that.
daughters, wait for it, we don't love our daughters the way we love our sons, and we do them a great disservice.
I'm gonna agree with that. I'm gonna agree with that. And as far as with my mother instilled so much in me. She walked that fine line, but she was more of the giving me anything I wanted
Hmm.
than anything. But she also spoke confidence in me.
Yeah, your mother was a
But
sweetheart.
I, I drew more to stuff that she would give me, the stuff that she wouldn't tell me no about.
Hmm.
I took more to that than the confidence was natural. I mean, that's just who I am.
Listen, if
But
your mother knew what all the stuff you were up to, she'd be rolling in her grave.
stop,
To be honest, I had the pleasure
stop,
to speak to that sweet lady, and yeah, she would have been rolling around, sir. But you know what?
stop.
It's all about. Too often we get stuck because we've been taught for generations to remember our place.
Right.
right? Like even now, to say keep a child in a child's place, that was not because children were not supposed to be hurt. That was to keep the children alive. And people forget that a lot of the things that we've done generation after generation was about keeping alive and surviving. It wasn't about thriving. So now we have to switch over to doing things that make us thrive, and some of
Right.
us are still caught in survival.
I agree.
Right? And it's a whole different type of parenting, and it's uncomfortable and it's hard to do, especially if you weren't raised that way, especially if you're
Yeah,
still
man.
around people who don't believe in it.
Parenting is a tough thing, man. It's a tough thing.
It is.
It's a
Like
tough,
I,
very
I
tough thing.
yeah, I'll tell people, I'm like, oh, Xavier's spoiled, blah blah blah, and then Xavier will go over and visit with them, and they're like, he'll leave, and they're like, Xavier is such a sweet young man. He's so well behaved. And I'm like, yeah, that's that parenting you said was weak. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? I I I like to tell people that Xavier is my example of how I parent. And so when people talk to me, I'm like, listen, I have a son. You want to know how I parent? Spend time with him.
There
Yeah.
you go.
The proof is in the pudding. The proof is always in the pudding.
There
You know.
you
So
go.
when
There you
when
go.
people said don't allow your child to think, I'm like, you know what? It's not about being better than anybody else. It's about being your best self, and there's a huge difference in that. And a lot of people don't differentiate the teaching their child that they can be their best self, and it doesn't
Right.
affect anybody else because you're not responsible for anyone else's feelings. You're responsible for your own feelings.
And that's the best advice you could ever give a kid.
Hmm.
Be the best version of yourself.
Yeah,
That's the best thing you could ever give a kid. Be the best version of yourself.
yeah. When Xavier was taking lunch to school, I would put lunch notes in his lunch box every day, and he would read them, and other kids would read them too.
Right.
You know, and it's just little things like that that people don't realize make such a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Slash gets the last comment. Let's see.
Al, Mr. After doing the work, can you break down about why your mother spoiled you? Broken down as to how why your mother spoiled you.
For me, the reason why she spoiled me because honestly, I'll get a little transparent before I get off. Do you know this the story well?
Hmm.
But as a 4-year old kid, I was taken from my mother. Father took myself and my brothers while my mother was in the hospital with kidney failure. And I didn't see my mother again until I was 9 years old. So my mother was making up for that time, that gap in her having her baby. I was the youngest of four. So I don't blame her for showering me with all that stuff because that's all she knew.
Right.
And that's all she wanted was her kids. She wanted her kids back. So I wasn't returned back to my mother until I was 9.
And that would be a
I didn't see
trauma
my mother
response
again
too.
until I was 9.
Yeah.
And that's just what it was. That's what I gathered after I acquired the tools. Like she was pouring into me because she was still hurting
Yeah.
and she was trying to fill that void. And this is what happens when guys see women like that or vice versa. But I'll just say with the guys, when a superficial man run into a woman who is always reaching, he's trying to fill a void.
Hmm.
Unbeknownst to him, the remedy is herself, her inner
Yeah.
self.
Yeah.
But
So.
my mother was trying to fill the void by giving me everything. The reason I got to California, became a singer, and I was able to move in those circles, my mother financed that entire thing until I got the deal.
Hmm.
I was a young kid in California. My mother financed that.
Yeah.
My mother financed the first half of my career before I got the deal. Tell me who mother does that? Nan did.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't even think that was considered spoiling. I think that may have been like her way of trying to make up time. Yeah.
You
Because
know what? You're right. You're
yeah,
right.
there's a lot of I could not even imagine if Xavier was taken from me and like not seen for 4 years. Like
Right.
my heart would break.
So
Like
again, like let me clear just in case some family members are watching. Well, they're very aware of what they read the book. years ago and all that stuff, so they know what's up. But yeah, I didn't see my mother again until I was like 9 years old.
Yeah. Slash asked a question. So, did you in turn do this to your second wife?
I don't understand the question. Slash, what do you mean? What did I do?
I don't know. Is he referring to how your mother spoiled you? I'm confused too. I'm not sure.
I think he is, and you know what? With honestly, if that's what you're referring to, Slash, I'm gonna say yes. With Kennedy, yes, because ironically, Kennedy's life, same thing but different process, different situation. Where I had Kennedy from 8 months to 3 years old, and I decided to leave to make sure Kennedy was good because her and her mother and I had separated, headed for divorce. So Kennedy was 3 years going on 4 when I left.
Yeah.
And I did spoil her to compensate for the time that I left. And I left for the betterment of my child. So yes, if that's what you're asking, Slash, yes.
Right. Well, we are at time 9:02. Should we go on to our teaching moment? Because I have to get Mr. Man ready for school
Oh,
tomorrow.
yeah. Yep. Go ahead.
So 9 times out of 10, the same thing's going to solve the problem: is effective communication. Right. Effective communication. Make sure you tell people what your expectations are, and don't get upset, but about unset expectations. So if you plan on a first date, have a talk about what the expectations for the first date is. That way you're both on the same page. If you're not on the same page at the beginning, then move on, right? You don't have to go on a date with somebody who doesn't meet your expectations, whether you're male or female.
Exactly. My teachable moment is, again, reciprocate what you're willing to give, but communicate it. Communicate it. Communication is key. Communication is complete key. Communication solves everything. So, hey, Slash, I answered your comment. We
Yeah.
figured out what you were saying. I answered your comment, and then the answer is yes. It's yes. But again, the teachable moment, communication. Don't reach for what you. It's okay to reach and dream and have aspiration for that, but if that's not your reality, come on. Until you could actually get there, communicate it. Communicate your likes and your dislikes, and there won't be any more friction. So that's all I have. Hey, this is a good one, Coach D. We appreciate you guys for actually always supporting and tuning in. And as always, you guys can catch Coach D and I with a plethora of content on b2gunitytv.com, right there on the Roku channel, or just search us out. What's your website, Coach?
deelayler.com.
There it is. For all your coaching needs, trauma needs, and all that good stuff. Coach D is that coach.
I'm actually gonna work on my website this week, so I'm gonna add an e-store to get rid of some of this wellness stuff. I've got bracelets up the yin yang here hanging out, and I need to move them. They need to go.
How's the book coming along?
It's coming. So I'm stuck in a thing because I have to work through some stuff to get through the end of the chapter. But that means that it's doing what it needs to do, because
it's doing what it's supposed to do. Exactly. Yeah. I can't wait to read it.
Yes. If you can write a wellness book and it doesn't affect you, you didn't write a good wellness book.
There it is. There it is. Appreciate you, Kathy. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Yeah. So again, if you guys want to catch the 1 second, let's get Slash. Slash gets the last one.
Slash says, "Thanks for your honesty, Mr. Epic. It needs a part 2 to truly delve into tonight's topic." Miss Kathy said, "Thank you. It was a great show."
Hey, you know what? That's a good idea. What you think about it, Coach?
It depends on where we would go for it.
Let's talk about the Prince syndrome. Let's talk about the Prince syndrome.
Oh, the Prince. Yeah, we can go there.
Let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could do that. We could definitely do that.
Yeah.
Because there is 2 sides to that. There's a Prince's side and there's also a Prince side. So let's talk about it. I'll get a little more transparent.
Sure.
Next Sunday.
Sounds good.
All right, good stuff. Get a little man to bed, and I'm going to get Kobe a walk and get ready for the gym tomorrow.
All right. Well,
Love
thank
you
you
and I
everybody for
appreciate you.
listening and watching. We'll see you all next week.
Good stuff. You guys be epic.
From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Conversation. Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.